Did you know that today there are about 130 armed conflicts being fought across the world? In just 15 years, that number has more than doubled. We are not moving toward peace. We are accelerating away from it. And yet today, on World Red Cross Day 2026, we pause not just to remember history, but to question what we have become. This day marks the birth of Henry Dunant, the man who turned compassion into a global movement. In 1859, he stood on a battlefield in Solferino, surrounded by more than 40,000 wounded and dying soldiers, and he realized something that changed history. A scream of pain has no nationality. That idea gave birth to a movement that would become the world's largest humanitarian network, with millions of volunteers reaching the most fragile corners of humanity. But today, in 2026, the question is no longer how it began. The question is whether we are still capable of carrying it forward. The battlefield is no longer one place. It is everywhere. Nowhere is this more visible than in Ukraine, where the conflict has entered its 5th year. For 5 years, people have lived through fear, uncertainty, and disruption, trying to maintain ordinary lives in completely extraordinary circumstances. And for more than a century, that response has had a name: the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, a global network built on one simple belief: humanity must come first. What makes this moment even more devastating is not the war, but the cold. An energy crisis has left millions without reliable electricity or heating. Entire communities face rolling blackouts. Families cannot cook food, cannot warm their homes, cannot access health care, and in many cases cannot even call for help. For older people, those with disabilities, and those already struggling with illness, this is not discomfort, it is survival. This is what a humanitarian crisis looks like in 2026. Not only destruction, but darkness, silence, and isolation. And yet, even in that darkness, something remarkable continues. In just 1 week in February, volunteers from the Ukrainian Red Cross provided more than 3,300 hot meals to residents in Kyiv across 6 support points. They ensured that people who could not cook, who had no electricity, and who had nowhere else to turn could still eat. But what they were really serving was not just food, they were serving dignity. They were reminding people that they had not been forgotten. And this is where the story becomes uncomfortable. While volunteers stand in freezing temperatures delivering help, the global response is falling short. There is a funding gap of more than 260 million Swiss francs for humanitarian operations in Ukraine for 2026 to 2027. This gap does not exist because the need is small, but because attention is limited. And attention, in moments like these, determines survival. And this is the reality we confront on World Red Cross Day 2026. This is not a failure of resources. It is a failure of priorities. The crisis does not end in one country. All around the world, humanitarian needs are rising at an alarming rate. Conflicts are lasting longer, the damage is deeper, and recovery is slower. Hospitals in conflict zones are seeing a sharp rise in weapon-related injuries. Families are being torn apart, communities are being displaced, and entire generations are growing up surrounded by instability and fear. Today, more than 56,000 new tracing requests have been registered. From people searching for missing loved ones, more than 4 times the number recorded a decade ago. Behind every number is a person waiting for answers, waiting for closure, waiting for someone to remember them. At the same time, a new and invisible challenge has emerged: misinformation. Humanitarian workers are now not only fighting against time, weather, and conflict, but also against distrust. In some places, volunteers arrive with medicine and food only to be met with suspicion, because false information spreads faster than help itself. In a world where lies travel instantly, trust has become fragile. And when trust disappears, help becomes impossible. And still, despite all of this, they continue. Across 45 countries, more than 133,000 volunteers have supported people affected by the Ukraine crisis alone. Across the globe, millions are being reached. This is that movement in action, not an idea, but a lifeline. Billions of Swiss francs have been mobilized, not just by institutions, but by individuals who chose not to look away. This is where the story becomes personal. The Red Cross is not made up of heroes. It is made up of ordinary people who made one extraordinary decision: to act. This raises a difficult question. When was the last time we helped someone who could never repay us? Not out of obligation or expectation, but simply because it was the right thing to do. We live in a time where suffering is constant. We see it on our screens, react briefly, and then move on. But the people living through these crises do not get to move on. For them, this is not a moment. It is their life, every day and every night. That is why this day matters. Not as a celebration, but as a reminder that humanity is not defined by what we feel, but by what we choose to do. In the end, the future will not be shaped by organizations alone. It will be shaped by individuals, by choices made in moments that seem small but are not. Choosing to care, choosing to act, and choosing to help. Because somewhere tonight, someone will be sitting in the dark, cold and hungry, waiting for someone to care. And in that moment, the difference between despair and hope will not be an idea. It will be a person. On this World Red Cross Day, the question is not whether humanity still exists. The question is whether we are willing to be part of it. Because in 2026, humanity is not guaranteed. It is chosen. And today, the Red Cross is asking you one simple thing. Choose humanity. Thank you.